it's Stephanie.
It's Emily.
And we're back again. And today we're going to do a book review on The Violinist of Venice by, I don't know if you can see it, but it's by Alyssa Palombo. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. But yeah, so I got this book via an ARC copy from St. Martin's a while back ago, and I finally got the chance to read it, and I liked it, so I gave it to Emily to check it out as well. And now we're going to do a book review on it. Yep. I only picked out one emoji this time because I liked it. I guess I could do this one too. This one. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I loved it, but I definitely liked it. So
yeah. For me, I definitely enjoyed it quite a bit. It was a pretty fast read, and a lot of the characters were pretty in tune with like the errors, so I think the author did a really good job on that.
So in terms of like researching?
Yeah, she did so much. I can't even begin to start where she got all the references, even though it did say that she was a trained musician. But yep, I definitely liked the fact that she did her homework, and overall the writing was pretty excellent.
So one thing I definitely liked about the book was, so I'm not really like a historical fiction person, but I do like it when they have other elements in it, and I feel like this book definitely did. It had like a huge romantic aspect to it, which made it a lot more bearable for me personally to read a historical fiction novel. So because of that, and honestly, I used to play the violin when I was younger. I think most Asians like play some sort of instruments when they're younger.
Don't generalize, but I did too.
Exactly. I played too. Okay, I played piano and violin. So I definitely knew Vivaldi growing up. Like I loved his music when I was playing the violin. So it was kind of nice to read a book about like the romantic side of his history. Granted, it's fiction, but you know, like it's still Vivaldi and his romantic aspirations.
I always prefer Vivaldi over Bach.
Oh yeah. I like Vivaldi a lot more too. And after reading this book, I actually went on, I think you did too, I went on Spotify and I was just like, all the Vivaldi, like, you know, music, classical music.
Maybe that's something we should share with our readers.
I just spent like an hour just like listening to it because I was just like, yeah, I remember like the songs I really liked, the concertos and whatnot. So that was something that was good.
Yeah. For me, I was stunned by how much she researched in terms of the language. Like I don't know too much about the author, but the fact that she was able to really ingrain the entire like Venetian setting in there and sort of like not really drop too many like names, but also, you know, really easily encompass like characters and their flaws, and along with all that research and history was fascinating, and it was very clear that like she knew what she was doing.
Right.
And so for me, I think in general I liked the book because of that, because of the amount of depth that was going in terms of like the world building. The characters actually, to me, a little bit fell a little flat. I feel like it was a little one-dimensional because you could really clearly tell that the main character, she was supposed to, like, what was going to happen to her
Yeah, that's true,
as things went on with her relationship with Vivaldi, and then with all her other, like, Venetian acquaintances. So, but overall, like, it was a really good, epic story of one individual, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't know. How did you feel about the characters?
The characters, like, I definitely enjoyed reading about them. But there are definitely times when, what's her name? Adriana. I felt like she was a little immature. But I also think, like, it might have just been, like, her age, you know?
Yeah.
So, and the fact that her father basically secluded her entire life. So she didn't really know what was appropriate and what wasn't appropriate for a lot of situations because she was so sheltered. So because of that, I definitely felt like she was a little, you know, immature and young in some of her decisions.
Yeah, I think for me, Adriana had that point, but I think the other character that you mentioned that really like fit into my idea of like why the characters felt a little flat was like her father. I just didn't really understand. I didn't understand why he was so mean to her.
Well, it was because of like her mother. Because like, but I don't know. I don't understand why he always bullied her and beat her up. That was one thing I didn't understand. The other thing I didn't understand, but I did understand, was the fact that because she looked like her mother and her love of her music made him very like like some I feel like some men grieve in two different ways. Like if their wives die, like from what I've read in different novels and stuff like that. One is like they grieve so hard and they just like kind of just let go of everything. The other one is they grieve so hard of their like beloved wife, and then when their daughter grows up to look like her, they like start to react against the daughter because it just reminds him of what he's lost.
So it's a little bit of like, did you ever watch Sound of Music?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a little bit like about child family. Okay, yeah. I can kind of see that.
Like, so I feel like those are the two, like, obviously there's everyone's different, the way how they react to grief is different, but like those are the two most common that I've read so far and I've seen so far. So I think, most stereotypical, right. So I think because of that, that's why he treats her terribly, but, and why he also refuses to let her have music in her life other than just listening to it. He won't let her play, even though she played when she was younger. But
because I think that was the only part where I felt like, is the author just really doing this because she needs a conflict in order to keep the story going?
Oh,
and
that's
like,
true.
There were like certain points where I just wasn't sure, like, if this father was really supposed to be this bad, because the motive behind a lot of what his actions. You definitely went, you explored it with your discussion, but like with me, it just wasn't done well, like deep enough in the book for me to like really be like, yes, that's definitely true. Yeah,
that's true. She definitely, I feel like she did more of a job in doing the world building as opposed to character development. But that's also because when you're setting a book in the 18th century and about a book of Vivaldi, so that a lot of people know about, I think there is that pressure to kind of set that world up as opposed to setting him up, because you don't want to change him that much because we all know him. You know, we already have a preconceived notion about who he is and like, you know, like a basic history about him in particular. So I can understand why she didn't want to do too much in-depth analysis of him and like the other characters, because she doesn't want to like go against what we already know of him. If that makes any sense whatsoever.
I can definitely see that as a possibility. But that was my general analysis.
But one thing I didn't like about the book though was the father. Oh my goodness, he was like such a dick. No offense, like. And like another thing I didn't understand was like how that guy, that butler guy, not the butler, but like her half brother at the end, how he knew, Giuseppe, how he knew that her that the father was always like beating her up and yet did nothing in the beginning. And it wasn't until the end, like years later, that he was like, you need to stop this. You know, but like she's grown up with that her entire life and he was always there with her, and like all of a sudden, like, why didn't he do anything prior to that? And like not to mention like her brother too. Like, I mean, her brother was gone by this point. But he was there before, like, how come no one stopped that? Like, be like, hey, you shouldn't, like, beat, you know, my sister, or, like, whatever up. Like, hello? Like, and it was to the point where she would have, like, black eyes and, like, blood and everything. Like, that's not, like...
Yeah, see, those sort of things, like, those description scenes kind of got to me because I wasn't quite sure if they really were justified in terms of the storytelling. Because I was like, well, yes, the father's terrible, but then you see, like, because of how dramatic it turned out to be, the fact that the author didn't really go more in depth as to like, oh, it was because the father was really sorrowful of like this particular thing, and let him be more like, you know, of a flawed character versus just a villain. That kind of made it a little bit like, it didn't really work too well with me when it came to that character. But for me, my only, I guess, answer a little bit of like to your question was just that I think Giuseppe, first of all, even if she cared for the main character Adriana, like I think they were like similar age. And so, like, at the time when she was, like, going through it all, like, he didn't have much power, especially since he was a servant.
That's true.
And so, like, to really go against, like, the man who, like, who's, like, your financial means, it can be, it takes a lot of guts, especially since it becomes a certain, like, precedence and everything. And then in terms of her older brother, Claudio, I think was his Claudio.
I don't know.
I think his name was Claudio.
He didn't really pop up that much.
Yeah, see, like, the thing is, he was just kind of there as a placeholder to sort of, you know, again, like,
be like, hey,
elaborate,
I'm a brother, but like, not much.
Elaborate a little bit more about the father, right? And how like the father obviously was
noted on the brother
his favoritism was very blatant.
But that was also because of that time period. Oh, I mean, even today, to be honest, like fathers always dote on the brother. I mean, the sons, because they always want to have a male in the family. But it was especially obvious in that time period, though.
Yeah, I definitely would say that. It could have been a tradition, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know about now if all fathers like that, but obviously not fathers, but
really.
But no, at that time period, for just really clear financial reasons, the reasons like they wanted an heir, and the heir would very likely be a son,
right? Because the daughter gets married off to someone else, and then she doesn't really inherit. I mean, she will still inherit, I think, but she will obviously have her husbands as well, so it would usually go to the son.
I guess my last question really is that when you were reading this book, did you feel like any sort of awkwardness as like a modern day woman reading about like a woman of the past and what she had to like kind of go through in order to even retain her autonomy in some way? Because clearly like she was forbidden to do something she loved, right?
I don't know if it was awkward, but I would definitely be grateful that I was born in this century versus the 18th century.
In Italy.
In Italy, like, where everything is a little more different in the culture and everything. Expectations are also very different. But, like, yeah, I definitely was more grateful that I was like, okay, like, as much as I admire chivalry and all that, like, old-fashioned nonsense, but, like, I definitely prefer this day and age as a woman to be out and alive.
Yeah.
Like, instead of that time.
I have interesting enough you said that you don't really like reading historical fiction.
Yeah.
For me, actually, I don't mind it so much, but I definitely never really read it for nostalgia. I always usually read it for information because, like...
I don't know if I read it for information. I read it because, like, the premise looked good.
Yeah, I mean, that too. But
then I'm like, oh, let me read it. And then I'm like, no, JK, I don't like it.
So yeah, I was really appreciative that the author got a lot of things, I assume, like on point. It seemed like everything was relatively seamless, despite a little bit of like our opinions on like characters and how they could have been more drawn out.
So because I am always the same person, my thoughts have not changed. I still like the book. I mean, at the end of the day, like, I still thought it was a good book overall. It was entertaining. I like the romantic aspect, especially the whole, like, you know, how they're not meant to be and, like, whatever. And also, another thing I didn't mention before was I liked how it spanned, like, 30 years of their lives. So you can really see, like, how, you know, how their past really plays into their future, and how it affects it, and, you know, just not just like the past, but like also her decisions, her parents, her father's decisions, like the expectations of a female in the 18th century and how that affected her future. So I definitely like this book. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I actually came to actually really adore it or love it after discussing it, because there's just certain points that I didn't really like, I guess, think about too hard when I was reading it that then was like really brought up to light, like the fact that she was a female who was trying to sort of defy the notions of her time, and she did it more or less, even though like there were certain hurdles along the way.
Right.
And so overall, this book is really about like a strong female who had a lot of things going against her love for music, and so in general, like it was really great setting building. World building. Can't talk today. World building, and the characters themselves really did were really well interwoven. So yeah.
Okay. So that's it for The Violinist of Venice by Alyssa Palombo. And I will also link the Goodreads in case you want to double check, you know, see if you'd be interested in that book, as well as my review. I posted a review about this a few days or like a week ago or so. So you can check that out as well if you're interested in just doing a read instead of watching a video. Though I think at this point you would have to watch it, so.
right.
But yeah, all right. Bye,